Now today we're going to be talking about tonal values whilst working with pen and ink, and also whilst I draw out a stunning monarch butterfly. Let's get started. I do like using pen and ink, I really do, because it's a good way of really studying a subject, and also in a more sort of monochromatic style really, isn't it? It's just black and white. However, what I tend to think about, because it's black and white, it's just one colour pen all the time, isn't it? I think about the tonal values of those marks. So in other words, is it light, is it dark, is it like a mid-tone? How do we create like a mid-tone mark where it's not too dark and not too light when you're working with just a pen? Why is it not black all the way through? Let me show you what I mean on that. All we're going to do, if you look at something like, I don't know, around a circle like this, and there's a patch just by the side of it which is paler, but yet everything around that area is actually quite dark. What you need to do, you can have your pen on the side like so, and you can graze the paper with the pen, just barely kind of catching the texture of the paper like so, look. And that's created more of a sort of grey mark, a very pale mark, even though it's the same ink all the time, of course it is. And then you can also use, in this case, stipple marks and scumble marks to create texture, but also to create different tonal values. So when you look at this area here, we've got lighter, we can go even lighter than that. Let me show you what I mean. Look. So you can go even lighter, so barely grazing the paper, just about make out the ink coming off onto the paper there. It's really pale there, more of a mid-tone. This is also mid-tone as well, but using kind of scumble marks like so. Or you can use stipple marks like this as well to be able to do that, to create texture, but also to create tonal values. And that's what I'm thinking about today, is just working on the different shades that we can see within this lovely monarch butterfly I've just started working on. So if I wanted to go really dark, then you simply just fill it in. When I'm filling something in to go for a dark tone, what I tend to do is fill it in like so, using kind of scumbles and circles all the way through to create more of a, say, textured feel to this darker tone really. And then if it needs to go darker, I'll go over the top again using the same thing. I wouldn't just simply go over the top of that by shading it in like so. What you can do, another way of creating a darker tone and lighter mid-tones really, is by using different shading methods. So you got this one by cross-hatching like so. And you can cross-hatch that way as well. And every time you cross-hatch, it's going to get darker and darker and darker. And you can actually use a cross-hatching technique to create lighter versions as well. So when that's really dark there, I can go the same way, same direction like so, but ease off the pressure and add a few more gaps in between. So now we've got a darker area, got a mid-tone area. So let's work on a lighter area. So remember, put your pen to one side like that. Look. See that? And now, using the same cross-hatching technique, I know, we can now go lighter. I'm going to go this way now. Look. Just a few very light marks, cross-hatching as well, all the way across. So that's creating different tonal values, from light all the way through to dark, by cross-hatching. I know, quite an interesting technique, and that's something I would use more on a flat surface really. You can do the same thing by working with curves as well. But I do have a video working on this sort of thing by different techniques with pen and ink, and that's the video which you can see pop up on the screen now for you. So, when I'm working on something like the monarch butterfly, what I need to think about doing is scumbling, first of all, using the same techniques I've just shown you there. Look. And when I'm working around the white spots we can see, I'm going to create more like a cloud effect. But make it slightly wider, slightly bigger than it needs to go, first of all. And then you can very carefully go inside that, kind of fine-tune the shape that you want, using the very tip of the pen, and I'm hardly using any pressure at all with this pen. Now don't forget to click on subscribe down below, and also that like button, because when you subscribe to our channel, then there's less chance you'll miss one of our videos here. So quickly click on that subscribe button now whilst you're watching this video. Really black in places, but there are areas, like the front here, you can just about see a little bit of a kind of lighter section there. So what I need to do, put the pen on its side, so it's nearly horizontal in your hand, and just graze the texture of that paper. Now this paper is watercolour paper, and it's a £140 cold pressed paper, which is Saunders Waterford. So I'm just grazing the side of the pen on the paper, like I'm just showing you on that test there, look. If you're not sure, if it's not quite catching the paper, bring your hand further along the pen. So instead of holding it really far back like that, which you can still do it like that, just bring it slightly higher, a bit more of an angle, just to catch the edge of the pen, there we go, onto that paper there. And then just graze it, barely touching that surface of the paper all the time. A few little lines kind of flicking out as well. And that's now a paler area. Working with tonal values all the time for those lighter, mid-tones and darker areas. All by working with various techniques and textures. Oh yeah, there you go. Now do remember as well, if you lose your way when you're drawing, get 2 pieces of card, pop a small hole in each one of them. Then offer one to the reference photograph and offer one to your drawing so you can work out what area you've got to work in. It kind of isolates things in one area. You can pinch it down by kind of blocking it off with a hole in it. So let's say, for example, right, if I fold that piece of watercolour paper over, preferably a white side, let's do that side, shall we? I can cut not too big a hole. Depends how big a hole you want, really. We'll make it a square. So if I cut that there like that, then when you open that up, you can isolate certain areas like that, look. See what I mean? So I can really work out where things go. I can isolate one little area, do the same thing on your reference photograph. So you can work out where you are. You think, oh yeah, that's it, that's the area. So you can actually find your way. Because there's so much detail here, it's quite easy to lose where you are, isn't it? Kind of lose track of the location, you know? You need a sat-nav really, don't you? So remember, you can just very lightly tack one of these to your reference photograph on your tablet, iPad, mobile phone, printed off area, whatever you've got, because it will help to isolate just one section within that reference photograph. And also, as I mentioned, on your drawing as well. I also use it for tonal values as well. Then look at the tone that you can see. How dark is it? Is it light, mid-tone, really dark? Talking about tonal values, you can see this area is really dark now. And I've created that by increasing the stipples, the kind of marks I've made on the paper. You know, the way I did all this lot here, so I've got plenty of stipples like this lot. Like that, okay. And then in between those stipples, I'll add even more, but only in one area. And so I'll give you a gradual feel from light to dark again, like we did on this area here. See what I mean? So just a few odd ones like that. Spaced apart, the further away they go, the further you'll space the dots apart. And that'll give you that sort of from dark to light feel. And that's what I'm doing around here. This is just one tone at the moment. But what I'm doing, I'm increasing the marks just on the other side of the veins. And that's it. So it's darker there as it comes away from the vein and gets lighter to the mid-tone towards the middle of this section. And then again, I can darken here on the vein here, this little vein going down, and then darken one side of that. So you've got sort of a dark to light to dark area, and the same down here as well. And it's all done through tiny, tiny stipples, this area here. A tip for you as well is to print off your reference photograph in black and white. So like the one I've got on the screen here. So you can just turn it into black and white. Then you can see where those tonal values are. You really can. Then you can adjust your marks accordingly to where those tones are. If you hang on, it's going to be darker there, it's going to be lighter there, and so on and so on. Now the full video on how to paint this monarch butterfly using pen and wash techniques is available on my Patreon channel, and also at the time of this recording, there's roughly about 160 other wildlife in watercolour video lessons there as well. Have a look at the link down below. And as I mentioned with black and white, is that you're working then in grayscale. You're not working in colour. You don't have to think about colour at all. And just out of interest, this one is a Sakura Pigma Micron. There's a size 01 archival ink, so it's obviously waterproof. You get a whole set of those, as you can see there, from 0.25 all the way through to a 0.70. So you do get quite a selection there. And these are quite highly rated on the internet, so I thought I'd give them a try today for the first time and see how I get on with them. And so far, with this one pen, done all this with just one pen, it seems to be working really well. So consider those midtones, consider the way that you go from light to dark. Think about the space in between the marks that you make. Remember, the bigger the gap between the dots that you make, the lighter the area will appear. especially when viewed from a distance as well. Now you can see I've got this all drawn out, and you can see the different tonal layers, the lights, the mids and the dark tones throughout this. I've even gone really light on this area here, and all I've done, see all these little sections, is use the side, a bit of scrap watercolour paper, I'll use that side, use the side of the pen by having it down really low, instead of having it sort of, not quite vertical but like that, as you would normally have a pen to get the kind of darker lines. You'd lay it down like that, so it's nearly horizontal, like that, okay? You can't have it horizontal because then that won't touch the paper, but you want it slightly higher. And by having it slightly higher and holding the pen further towards the end, what you'll end up with is graze marks. So if I just show you what I mean, look. If it doesn't work, you have to angle the pen a little bit more to start picking up something from the side of that nib. And there we go, starting to pick it up now. See that picking up? That's very, very pale. And that's how I tend to work with a very pale version of, you're working with a single colour, which is basically, as I said, this colour here. So all it simply is, we're just holding the pen to one side and using no pressure at all. The weight of the pen is all I'm using here. So that's another light tone you can work with. As per usual, the more you go over those marks, the darker that area will become, without putting any more pressure on there, look. Because you're overlapping all the time. So all I'm doing there, constantly overlapping. And that's what I've done around this area here. It's gone very, very pale. But when I'm working on this flower here, it's all I've done, the same process as this. It's very lightly just going over the top of the same area time and time again. And it'll get darker all the time. That's all I've done there. And you can see this is very lightly grazed around there. So that's another thing when you're working with tones. You can really decide how you want to hold that pen. The more towards the nib you hold it, the thicker the line and darker the line will get. The further away you hold it, the lighter the stroke will be. Again, don't use any pressure on the pen at all. Just use the weight of the pen to create those marks. Now when you're looking at this flower bud here, I've got the pen nearly horizontal, so I can create a very light shaded area like this lot. But because it's darker towards the central area, I can increase those marks now, either by lifting the pen up slightly, I mean marginally, just a fraction, just create those darker areas in the middle. But that's all through working with the tonal layers again, thinking about the lights, midtones and darks. And also thinking about where the light source is coming from. At the moment, looking at this, the light is more or less coming from this sort of direction. Now, if you fancy learning some more pen techniques, various ideas for creating those lights, mids and dark tones when you're working with pen and ink, have a look at the link in the top right hand corner of the screen. I'll see you there.